we go. There we
Oh
go. Let's
shit,
fucking
man.
see.
Oh, dude.
Okay, I guess we're live. I'm Dustin
Yeah.
from TrackDaz doing the Talkin Motorbikes thing, and I'm on tonight with basically the dude that's like the Lords of Dogtown for
Oh my god.
motorbikes. It's Brian Murray from
Hey.
Socal Supermoto. What is up, dude?
I'm just out here hanging out with you, talking about motorbikes and whatever else we're gonna talk about. And I wasn't nervous, and then there was this countdown on the
Oh, well,
screen,
there's that.
and
Yeah,
now
like
now I
I
have
mean, dude,
performance
we're
anxiety. We were
this
just
is a
talking about
legit
I had
this is a
imposter syndrome, and now I got performance anxiety.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Just
I mean, this is a legit podcast. I mean, I have a
yeah,
microphone, headphones, the whole thing, right? Like, so
dude,
it's
it's
like
huge.
it's
Yeah,
legit, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So you know what? We were just talking offline that I kind of remember. I can't remember what year it was, but it was like on the forums back then when you started, right? And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this SoCal Supermoto dude rolls up. You got some like busted, clapped out DRZ or whatever the fuck it was that
Yeah.
you were riding. And
It's
I remember as the track day dude, I'd been doing the track day thing for a few 4 or 5 years before you came out, and I
yeah.
was
You're
like,
like
"Who the
you
fuck
didn't
is this clown?"
you didn't check. You didn't check with me. You didn't run it by me to see if you could
Yeah,
do this.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
The
Yeah, so I mean, like, and back then, I remember at Fontana during the National Superbike weekend there. I remember there was a huge supermoto event outside in the parking lot right around that same time.
yeah.
And back then Supermoto was huge all of a sudden. Like it just came out of nowhere and was like super
We
popular. And then
yeah. It was like 2006. I was racing. In like 2000, people would like come up and they would just come up the inside, and I'd be like, you seem to want it more, brother. Go ahead. Like go ahead. Like I just don't have that in me. But yeah, I did some racing. It was all huge, 2003 to 2006. And then the funny part was when I started SoCal Supermoto, I tried to get a friend to be like a partner. He had some money, and I was like, "Hey, you want to like buy a? If you buy two bikes, you own 50% of the company." And he was like, "Yeah, no, like I'm out.
yeah,
Forget that noise, right?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I literally did it because I was coming back from an injury. I had sold my bike. I was teaching brand new riders on TW 200s, and so I have this TW 200, and then I'm like, I come back from an injury, and my hand, I bent my hand backwards in a low side, and so I was going to buy another bike, and I go, hey, if I buy two bikes, I'll be able to get my track days paid for. Because I didn't have any, I had two young kids, I didn't have any money, and I'm like, oh, if I get two bikes, I could have classes, I could have people like five or six, because I was teaching people in parking lots. And
yeah.
so you were like, where did this guy come from? He's going to do this motorcycle school. I was like, hey, I do track days on my supermoto, and I could teach these newbies that I'm teaching in a parking lot. I could take them out to the track, and I could teach them more stuff. So it was never like, like we're coming
Yeah.
from such different angles.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, if I get two bikes, my bike will get paid for, my track fees will get paid for, my gas will get paid for. That was how SoCal
And
started.
you're like,
Was
shit, I can ride for free?
I get a ride for free on a racetrack. And I literally showed up. I went on that forum, was like, hey, I'm a supermoto school. Sign up. It was like $150 and you got to use my
Yeah.
bike, right? And I literally showed up to Adams and was like, hey, I'm Brian. I'm going to do a motorcycle school. Is that okay? And she was like, yeah, that's fine. Have fun, hun.
Yeah.
And that was how it started.
They've been
Like
super
that was
nice
it.
over there. I mean, I haven't been to Adams in a little while. Actually, I haven't had this bike. I have the 450 Yamaha.
Yeah.
I haven't even had it out at Adams yet.
I rode with
It
you someplace. You showed
Um,
up. You're like
I I
day
th- I
one.
I think I think I rode. I think last time I rode and you were there, I had the Cowie 450 that I bought from Stu.
Oh, okay.
You know, the
You mean
one
it's
with all
old
the
green one
strip
though?
bolts and helicoiled everything, and
The ratty ass KX that he like set a lap record on at
oh,
like
dude,
streets.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like in the so yeah, I know exactly. You just showed up. You're like faster than me on your first day. 'Cause you're
Oh,
a dick.
shut the
'Cause
fuck up!
'cause you're an
Don't
asshole.
tell people that. Don't tell me that.
Yeah. All
Here, let
right.
me. I don't know if I got a big enough helmet to deal with
Yeah.
that level of.
Yeah. That's how we do it. Got to
Yeah,
build people
man.
up, man. Got to give them confidence.
So, uh, so you start the supermoto school, like, and you just have the two bikes, And now how many bikes do you have now?
Like 24, 25.
Are you, you got, wow, dude. Like,
Yeah,
what do you, like, do you have
I
like a,
literally lose track of like motorcycles. Like I'm like, hey, how many bikes do we have? Like I just ask my staff, like, hey, how many bikes do we have? And they're like, oh, it's
oh
this
man.
many. I'm like, yeah. And
So
so it
are
works
you
out.
like, are you kind of like a DRZ salvage yard or like what?
No, that's how it was. Totally. Like it took me 8 years of running the school to like learn this critically important lesson that I was too dumb to realize. So the problem was is that me and like crew chief at the time, Frank, we knew how to fix bikes.
Yeah.
So we're like, anytime there's a problem with the bike, we're like, we could fix that, or we can get this part from that, and blah blah blah. And it was just like the mentality as a motorcycle person that like,
Right.
oh, I can fix it. And then bikes would go down, we wait for parts. The other bikes would get used harder, they'd go down, wait for parts, and it was like this like Lucy in the Chocolate Factory thing. And then it took me 10 years, but I realized the more I spent money on motorcycles, the more money I saved, and the easier my life was. So recently, in the old days, yeah, it was you'd show up and it was clapped out DRZs. The fleet's pretty good. It might be like for road racer types, it might be like kind of like messed up looking bikes. But for us, we're like all the bikes are within 3 or 4 years old. They're all pretty clean, not bent levers. They're all together. So yeah, we still haven't had a bath in like 3 years, but
So they're dirty, but they run well.
they're solid. I mean, they
Good.
got fresh like Q5s on there now. We got good. They all have like good brake pads, Q5 line, everything. They're good. They're good bikes.
Yeah.
So yeah, back in the day, I'd
Yeah.
be like, never
I
buy a
I
bike for me. But now they're actually
I've
kind of good now.
I've seen you joke about the overall speed and power of the DRZ 350 or whatever, 400 or
Well,
whatever it
it's a
is.
400 that
Yeah.
we've been told about. It's the third fastest production motorcycle made.
Oh, well,
So
uh,
so you
yeah.
probably there's a lot of industry interest in keeping that secret. There's
Oh,
a lot of money put into Ducati,
super low
Panag-
key.
Panigale, Internationale, RRRs. That
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
people spending money on that. And if it got out that the DRZ was as fast as it is, we're talking suppressing lap times, suppressing dynos.
Oh.
So basically, I'm telling the world now, you can just get a DRZ and not worry about it. You know,
Well, the thing is, I mean, there's only like 7 fans of this show, so like you
yeah.
told
Well,
7 people.
we
Like,
just sold 7 DRZs.
I mean,
I'll tell you the honest, brilliant thing about DRZ, and you're not going to be able to argue with me after I say this. If you have a
okay.
DRZ and you go to the track, you will beat some people on 450s. There'll be
Right.
some people with like husky 450s, and you'll beat them, and you're like, oh man, I rode really hard, and I had fun on my DRZ, and I beat these guys, right? And I'm like pretty stoked on that. And then somebody will smoke you, and you're like, I was on a DRZ.
Ah,
You know, just it's a win-win. You can't if you go out there and ride well on a DRZ, impossible to not lock in a practice win. Because if somebody
wow.
beats you, you're like, oh, you're on a TM, you're on a Husberg, you're on whatever, gas. You're like, I'm on a 2016 stock DRZ, and I did a couple cool wheelies and I won. So that's how it goes.
I mean, that and that's really what matters, right?
Winning practice.
It's sort of
We
like
are here to win practice.
it's sort of like at a track day, the elbow down photo, right?
Right. We just had that. We had Supermoto champ Lucas Holbacher out, and
Okay.
he was out as a guest instructor, and he had a photographer out there doing some KTM shots, and he would just come in, just backing it in like crazy, right? Just drifting in, looking sexy as hell. Cameraman packed up, went away, and here comes Lucas, just like no backing it in, no rollings, none of that stuff. If you
Yeah.
actually watch, so yeah, kind of the equivalent of like the elbow down versus actually
Yeah.
moving fast. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one of our I'm all over the place, but that's one of our like passions in instructing. Like I
Yeah.
do this whole talk where like we all know that guy who's like the big guy and he's super kind. Hold on, but you're not gonna fuck with him. You know that type of person? And
Yeah.
they don't really say anything, but then when they do say something, they mean it, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, they're kind, but you're not gonna fuck with them.
Right.
That's how you want to ride a motorcycle. Like my thought is there's no bigger flex in riding than just going out there looking like you're doing nothing, hauling ass and being totally like polite and kind. Like that is the raddest way to ride a motorcycle. And you can do that your entire life, and like everyone's gonna like want to ride with you and be your friend, and it's gonna be fun, and it's relatively safe, and all
And
that
you'll be
sort of
able to
stuff.
come back and ride next time.
Be able to come back and ride now. I just thought about this lately, but I watched one of our staff, all my staff, I train them, they suck, and then they get way faster than me. So Connor was out there. I watched him, one of our staff guys, ripping laps the other day. He just coming in, just sliding in, looking super good, right? Just fucking hauling ass. And he
Yeah.
comes up on some slower riders, and he's just like this, just and gets by them, and off he goes. Just rip it, and that's such a cool way to ride, and that's what I try to kind of impart to my students. It's just ride well, and have a good time, and do as little as possible.
Is it in the supermoto? Is it like about accuracy, or is it like what is it
God,
about?
man, that's what's cool. It's like I learn every week. Like I learn so much stuff every week, and I have gone full circle from accuracy, technique, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Most of it is kind of what I just talked about. Most of it's mindset. When
Okay.
I when we talk and breathing, it looks like you come to the class now, it looks like a hippie yoga retreat, man. Like between every single session, like we're all gonna stop, we're all gonna breathe. Like, and I always joke, like you can sit at home reading Twists of the Wrist and you can get all of it down, right? If you're not
Right.
breathing, you're not relaxed, none of it matters.
You
And
know
part of the
when
reason we
when
focus so much on having fun is to get people to
yeah.
like fucking relax.
Yeah.
So if I'm
Yeah,
like making fun of people,
I
that's why,
remember on when I first started racing, I remember writing on blue tape on my triple clamp, breathe.
Yeah,
You know?
it's massive. I
Because I
realized
remember
again,
when I first started racing, I was racing at Willow, which was crazy, right? Like, long straightaway, 6 gear, knee down kind of
yeah,
thing through turn 8. And man, remember to breathe was a big thing because, dude, when you're starting out and you're going racing, it is really common to just like and hope it worked out.
yeah. I always tell people like, I'm like, yeah, I did some racing, I sucked, and that's why. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah.
And, dabbled in it for a couple years. I didn't breathe for 3.5 years. I didn't take a single breath. Fucking starting grid. It was like just like a little mini like panic attack every single time on the starting grid. Didn't breathe,
Huh.
not once. I realized everything I was doing wrong after I was done,
Racing.
racing.
Really?
Watching the tire of the guy in front of you. You have a series of doing that, right? Holding your breath
Oh
and
yeah.
just watch. So you'd watch them make a mistake, but you couldn't materialize it. You
Right.
couldn't capitalize on it because you had just like watched it happen, and they had recovered, and now they're right back.
Right.
you know? And then so
Yeah.
just like so much stuff that I learned.
It
So
seems it seems like there's a lot of crossover from our world to what you got going on, Like how do you think, or how would you tell a road racer how supermoto transfers over?
oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna answer your question with a non-question. It's not like what we're doing is not like what you're doing, and vice versa. It's the same shit. It's all the same shit.
I was
It, it,
expecting that answer, but
I mean, it really is. Like
yeah,
show me somebody who rips on a supermoto bike who can't ride a sport bike.
right.
Like, so show me somebody who's just really, really solid. And it's that mindset thing. I I say at the start of the day, I have my mission statement for the school, but I say like my personal mission statement is to get you guys to stop thinking about sport bikes, street bikes, adventure bikes, cruisers, flat track. They're so much more similar than they are different. So I just try to get people to just, like I said, relax, breathe, work on the fundamentals. Once we get them, when doing what I call like road racing 101, which is all the stuff, whether it's trail braking, looking for the turn, working on transitions and slow out fast, UW, all that standard stuff, right? First
Right.
half of the day is like road racing 101. There's nothing like everything that you hear at us, it's the same thing you're going to hear any other beginner, um, you know, performance road racing school. And then in the afternoon, that's when we really focus on riding to the traction that you have. And what I tell people is when supermoto riders, when they ride the asphalt and when they ride the dirt, they're doing the same thing. They're not thinking, oh, I'm in the dirt now. I'm going to do some dirt riding stuff, or I'm on
Right.
the asphalt. I'm going to do some asphalt stuff. That's what I did when I was starting out. It took me like 6 months of riding Supermoto before it all clicked. And what clicked was it's all the same shit. And perfect technique versus breathing loose, looking through the turn, elbow up, and feeling the amount of traction you have. That's massively. We have to get people doing the boring stuff, right? They have to do the
Yeah.
fundamentals. Once they're doing the fundamentals, I teach them just simply ride to the traction you have, and we kind of go over how to feel that and go over some techniques that. And that's kind of like the afternoon for like one session. Then it's like, all right, free ride because we're there to have a good time. So
Because yeah, like the one thing I've noticed is that um, you uh, you haven't forgotten that this whole thing is supposed to be fun, right?
right,
A lot of groups are like super militant. It's got to be this
I would
way.
know because I don't hang out with those people. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I
I
know what
me
you
neither.
mean, and
You know,
I ran from it. I ran from it hard,
yeah.
And what I
Well,
tell
like I
people is
said
like,
before we started the show, bro, like you're sitting there in your room and you're a motorbike guy that has I don't even know how many schools a year, and I see a guitar and a surfboard and an amp in your background.
yeah,
What kind of motorbike guy are you, man?
yeah, dude. Oh, I mean, I was thinking about this. I've never watched your show, but I have some suggestions for you.
Okay.
Some things, and I was thinking, I was looking around the room because you were mentioning like all the shit I had, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was thinking, what if you had show and tell? Like, you could, and then I could. I had this earlier because I was going to work on making yeah, I was going to show you my roller skates.
Oh, dude, you win.
Look at those.
I don't have
Look at
roller
those
skates,
bad
bro.
boys. Yeah, because I'm
I
gonna. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, cut those. What were we
Wow.
talking about? Just having fun. And oh, I know what I was going to mention. So I literally start the day saying that I'm going to tell them something that they won't hear at any other school, but it's true. And I say nobody gives a fuck how fast you are. Like
Yeah.
nobody cares. I go, are you a professional racer? No. Okay, not a
Cool.
professional racer. Nobody cares. And the reason, and then I follow that up with motorcycles are toys. Like these are fucking toys. Like stop. We take them seriously for one reason and one reason only. They're toys that can kill us.
Yeah, so we don't die. Yeah.
So we don't die. We take it serious to that point, and then like, okay, we're not dying and we're not killing others. Okay, great. Now let's just work on the stuff that makes it as fun as possible. Right. It turns
Yeah.
out riding well kind of makes it more fun. Like now as I approach riding exactly like well, it's kind of cool. You get old, you learn stuff. And I can promise you that I snowboard, surf, ride motorcycles, and skateboard all the same. It's like I'm going after this, sucking at a high level. This level of competency with minimal effort and minimal injury, and
Yeah.
maximizing fun. It's just like it's just an investment plan. We're like,
Yeah.
how can I
Yeah,
go?
absolutely.
How can I ride at like 95% where I'm going pretty good and where it's fun and it's exciting, but also very low risk of injury? And that's probably the most old man thing I'm ever gonna say.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that same boat. I'm just, you know, like I don't say it exactly the way you do. I say it like this. Like even if I threw down some ridiculous lap time, right? Like I have it recorded on my transponder. It's on the website, right?
Yeah,
Even if I threw down some like just ridiculous time, my phone's not gonna ring.
yeah,
Like Yamaha's not gonna be like, okay, dude, you can replace Campy now, right?
yeah. I
I mean,
tell,
like nobody,
yeah,
like I'm not getting the call, dude. Like I'm almost 50, okay? Like
yeah. I tell everybody because I give the lesson about getting smooth and how most of the things we teach are going to make you feel like you're going slower when you're actually going faster, right? And
yeah,
I said the only reason I learned that is because I had a lap timer. If you're serious about getting fast on a motorcycle, get a lap timer. If you want
right.
to stop having fun on a motorcycle, get a
Get a
lap
lap
timer.
timer. Yeah.
Like it just turns a motorcycle riding into a job immediately. So now I know there's people that get super excited about that, right? And
Yeah.
that's what makes it fun, and that's cool. Stu Man comes to mind in that, but Carino, but a lot of my friends, they're all
Yeah.
kind of into that. But so I'm not judging it in any way, but for most people, that's where we're at. We're just after we're s- we're offering fun,
Yeah.
and we're throwing in some motorcycle training.
So like, how many schools do you do per year, do you think?
Oh
Because
man,
I
I should.
swear it seems like you're there like every day.
Yeah, in the summer we slow down. We do like 4 a month, and then
Okay.
so that's our. We don't have an off season. We go year round.
Yeah.
In a busy month, we can have 8 or 9 school days in a month or something like that. So I haven't looked at it in a while. It's weird because we're like big and that we have a lot of people coming through, and then we do a lot of schools. But then each day, it's me, 3 of my friends, anywhere from 5 to a big day of like 20 students, right? But it's still exactly the same as when I'm not just saying that, like it's really the exact same feel and the exact same vibe as when I was just showing up with my truck. Except back then I was doing it all by myself because I was an idiot. And then having people helping out and having staff and that sort of stuff. But I say I have staff, it's my friend who I'm just gonna go rip laps with later on, and
Yeah.
he's gonna fix up the berm and the dirt section while I'm talking to these guys or vice versa.
It
So
sounds
it's
like my
cool.
staff, right? The
Yeah.
TrackDaz crew. So I've seen you. You know, we shared booth space a little bit at the motorcycle show, and you're like,
Yeah.
I remember the whole time you're like, dude, this is retarded.
It's like you
You're
did
like,
tell me
this is a giant waste of time. I'm so bored right now.
you gave me I swear to God, you gave me the biggest compliment that the school's ever had, and I've actually told this story,
What?
but you
I
did.
gave you a
It
big
was
confidence.
yeah,
Okay.
at that show. I don't think it was intentional, but you
Okay.
said you're like, it's like we're all at the mall, and like we're like selling motorcycle stuff, and like other people are like buying motorcycle stuff, and then there's Socal Supermoto, and you're like the skaters out on the sidewalk getting harassed by like the security guards, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, if I look at a mall, that's who I want to be, right? If I look at that situation, and
I
so,
think I also
um,
told you that I was jealous of that.
but you could be like that, just. But it's weird because you get it's a different population. Like,
Yeah.
so when you get people out, and I'm talking about the importance of riding dirt if in being an all around, and it's totally preaching to the choir. And then back in the day, we used to do asphalt only days.
Yeah.
It is a different crew that shows up for an asphalt only day.
Okay.
And by different, I mean whiny.
Shit, man. Okay.
We'll say whiny.
Wow,
Particular,
like we
particular,
we we
particular.
had we talked about non-negotiables for the thing, and like one of them was being honest and real with me, and I was like, dude, that's like boom, knock through the park, man. That's
No,
awesome.
no. It's I'll give you an example. So they'll on an asphalt only day, people will be showing up and they're talking about the levers aren't in the right spot or the shifter's not in the right spot. And then on the week before, you didn't hear any of it, and you saw riders that were going twice as fast on the asphalt, right? And they're
Yeah.
probably riders that came from dirt. And a lot of times these were like maybe a dirt guy who had never even ridden asphalt, right? And then
Right.
they just moving around. But more than that, there's a if you're the type of person who doesn't ride dirt, you're the type of person who needs to ride dirt.
I don't
You might be
like
the exception.
I
You
have
might,
ridden dirt. I have ridden dirt before. I I don't anymore. I
it just speeds up the process. So you
Yeah.
have so much track time
Right.
experience that you have your right hand wired to your brain, wired to the rear tire, right? If you give it
Yeah.
too much throttle, it starts to light up, you will naturally drift off, right? If you start to lose traction, you can regain it with the throttle, you'll naturally roll it on, right?
Right.
Without cutting things, right?
Yeah.
But that's just a process that most riders don't have, and that's a process that would be simply developed faster in the
Okay.
dirt. I'm not even good in the dirt. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, well, okay, but it's just and more than important than that is that mindset stuff. The dirt, you have to be loose, and you have to be relaxed, and you have to just ride like you're having fun, and that's what you want. So it just kind of speeds up that process too. If you're riding and you're working on the particulars and the exact stuff, you know, like dirt helps you get out of that a little bit. And I can't speak for
So
everybody, but that's what
let
worked for me. When riding supermoto and riding dirt, about 6 months in, it was like a light switch. I understood motorcycles. Like
really.
I just got it. Like, and I could hop on anything and ride it. Not super fast, not super awesome, but I could hop on a dirt bike. Like I hop on like a big old GS 1250. To me, that's a DRZ. That's heavy, and that I
It's like
accidentally
a
kicked
big.
the.
It's like a adventure touring version of the DRZ, basically,
Yeah,
right?
except you just keep kicking the stupid cylinder every
Well,
time you
there's
go
that.
into it.
There,
Go into
there,
it.
there is that. Yeah.
You probably or you would be dragging the cylinder.
I mean, look, you said the show and tell. I mean, I just picked up this thing earlier
Dude,
today
what is
from
that?
Yamaha. That's an XSR 900. So it's like a
Yes.
3-cylinder, basically like
Comfy.
a
See how
factory
old I
stunt
am?
bike. It's a
Yeah.
factory stunt bike, dude. Is what it is. So,
I would never do stunts. I think they're irresponsible.
oh
And
yeah,
yeah.
clearly, I think you're wheelie lying to me.
Wheelie, like I said, wheelies are the last refuge of the slow. If you're old and slow, you can go out there, throw up a
I
couple
mean,
wheelies, slide it
uh,
in, back it in, like brake slower than everybody else, but also back it in. People will
totally.
think people will think you know how to ride.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know. I do a little bit of that when I'm riding, but talk to me about the foot out police. What's that
Yeah.
about?
I mean,
Because
it was
I was
yeah, it
riding
was a
road race style, like because that's what I am. I'm a road race guy, and that's what
yeah.
feels comfortable to me. And
Uh,
I think that I first experienced that at the track that's used to be called Grange,
yeah, yeah.
and then I a little bit at
Oh, you mean like
Adams,
this is supermoto? You should be riding it foot out.
right?
I mean,
And
when I
then
do the talk, it's very simple. It's
yeah,
like we're going to teach you foot out style. By the way,
okay,
foot out style. What I mean by that is actually feet primarily on the pegs, chest out, elbows up, upright, pushing the bike down underneath you, which has advantages and disadvantages. We also go over this whole thing about how we live in binary land, and here we're not. It's not binary land. There's going to be advantages and disadvantages, and we're
yeah,
going to celebrate nuance. And if we talk about the industry,
nuance.
and yeah, you don't get a lot of fucking nuance in the motorcycle industry. Everybody's
You
a
don't,
goddamn
man.
expert. Everybody's
Yeah,
an expert.
everybody's
So
an yes, dude.
I tell them that here's why we're going to teach foot out. It's a chance to try something new for most of you. It's most people are faster doing it, and it's really good prep for when we open up the dirt section. Now, I also tell them you come out here and you're 2 seconds a lap riding, slower riding knee down, but you like to ride knee down. Ride knee down. Do whatever the fuck you want. Joe Roberts came out to the track and he did it knee down and he ran a 41.9. I run a 49.5 on a DRZ, right?
Right.
Am I going to go tell him he's doing it wrong? It's the most idiotic thing ever. So if you're like a foot out guy and you're looking at some knee down guy, they always say the same thing, like this is supermoto, you should go foot out. First off, if you're faster than every single knee down rider, then great, say that. Second off, they say, yeah, but he's not running the dirt. He's not running the dirt because he's a professional and he needs to train in the asphalt. And if he did run the dirt, he would still smoke you, right? Like I don't know anybody who's a pro level road racer who like can't make it through the dirt section without falling up. You know what I mean? They're gonna rip.
Yeah.
They always do.
I mean, I see a lot of pro guys posting shit on Instagram of them at kart tracks on supermoto bikes, like
Yeah.
Posh and
It's a lot more. It's much more rare to
BJ
find somebody who's.
Jacobson, right?
I mean, we just saw like Zarka, like dude, literally everybody.
Yeah.
Like, it's more rare to find somebody who doesn't. I think Lorenzo doesn't ride dirt, doesn't ride
Oh, he does
supermoto.
the
Like,
mini thing, right? He
oh,
does
he does the
the
mini, yeah,
figure
but it's all
eights and shit. Like,
yeah. So that was the only guy I could think of, but pretty much everybody's run flat track or supermoto or whatever, conditioning, training, fun.
well, to me,
You know,
I look at it. I'm a pavement only guy. I'll admit
yeah,
that. I don't do the fucking dirt section. You're like,
yeah.
okay, we're doing the dirt section. I'm like, okay, it's time to load up and go home.
What? Dude, it's so. I mean, we have like Dylan
I'm
Coe coming
such
out
a
to coach
puss
with
when
us,
it
and
comes to that, dude.
no, it's no. Okay, I will be fine with somebody being like, "I'm a puss when it comes to the dirt." I'd be like, "You should probably ride the dirt." You know what gets me? Fuck man, I don't want to wash my bike. Like,
Okay.
don't wash the fucking bike. It's a fucking dirt bike. Go ride it. Like,
Yeah.
dude, there's
Yeah, the
certain
dirt's
things
not
will
the
like.
problem for me. I'm like, I don't
No,
wanna
I mean,
have
but
my I don't wanna
people
put
will
my
say
arm
that. Yeah.
back in the socket.
Oh no, you can just go gentleman old man laps with me. I'll lead you around
Oh,
there.
okay, okay.
It'll be fun. But is what's cool is it's not it's greater than the sum of its parts, right? So when you ride dirt and you ride asphalt, that's not the thing. The thing is the mixing. The thing is the back and forth.
Okay.
That's what makes it magic. When you get into the asphalt and you're in dirty asphalt, right? Or you
Yeah,
get into dirt and you're in really sticky dirt, and so talk about training in riding to the traction that you have.
right.
So
Like, in
when
our
my
world, we talk about, like, a champ school guy, I'm an instructor for them, and we
uh-huh,
talk about the 100 points of grip, right? And
yeah, yeah,
no matter what conditions you have 100 points of grip, and so you have to ride within that, and if you're if you're using 99 points of grip for braking, how much left do you have over for turning,
yeah.
you know?
There's a lot of crossover. And speaking of, I was talking about the particular asphalt only guys, right? One of my
Right.
favorite stories. And it was a busy day. Maybe I was short staffed or whatever, but I'm in the classroom and I'm coaching. And this guy was like, hey, like some go kart went into a turn and put a bunch of rocks across the track, right? Just a bunch of rocks across the track. And he's like, hey, turn A, there's a bunch of rocks across the track. And I'm like, do you know they're there? He's like, yeah, I just told you. Fucking, are you gonna clean it up? And I'm like, slow down. No, I'm not going to fucking sweep the track. No, we're not here to give you a perfect track. That's the entire beauty and fun of Supermoto. It's to
Yeah.
go out there and ride to what you have. You ever go to a track and people complain about the conditions? Like, that's a
Dude,
major pet
I
peeve.
host track
Like,
days at Buttonwillow, bro, so yeah.
dude, like if it's bad
Yeah,
for you, it's bad for the other guy too. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Plus, it's just against the spirit of having fun. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to
I just
complain to
like
the
the
you're going to
wheelie off
complain to the
that part, you
track.
know?
Yeah, you're going to complain to the track, dude. You should just be throwing money at the track and thanking them and bringing them donut, whatever. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
when people show up and they like complain, I'm like, what is your track fees? They're like $50. You know what I mean? And
right.
you get to rip around all day. I say now I'm all having this grievance, but this is probably older stuff. Everybody's like been super cool. Track's been awesome.
Yeah.
All the students have been awesome. So I'm probably just whining about older
Dude,
kind of
you're
stuff.
actually, you're saying a lot of stuff that I hear on from my end too. There's always, when we do track events at Buttonwillow, which we do a lot of them. Fuck, even
Mhm.
at Laguna sometimes people are like, "Oh, there's like a blood stain from the dead squirrel that's, distracting me," or I'm like, "What, dude?"
It is a very much a sport bike guy thing. You know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was just reminded of this old this old story. There's a guy showed up to a road race, or just a track day event in Colorado in like the late '80s, and he had like a CR 500, and he put some like at the time you could get like Avon gripsters or whatever. So he had some like kind of like street-ish tires on his CR 500, and he went out rode foot out, and smoked everybody, and they black flagged him.
Oh man.
They black flagged him because foot out was dangerous. Like you're riding
Oh,
dangerous and you're
yeah.
endangering everybody. So,
Yeah, I see,
but
at
yeah,
our
it's
events,
motorbikes. Ride them how you want. They're toys.
at our events, we have a mix of talented riders. We have a mix of types of bikes. I mean, lately the Harley thing is really kind of like we're getting a lot more of those guys coming out,
Mhm.
and then but we also get every now and then, even at Buttonwillow. I actually had one at Laguna too, a supermoto guy, full on foot out, the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Like,
everybody
it's
has
just
the
like
same
well,
shit-eating grin on their face after.
dude. The other thing that blows me away is when you give motorcycle advice, like how much of the stuff is just life advice,
Yeah. Oh, dude.
right?
Yeah.
Like, are you having fun? Like,
Right.
is it working for you? Then just great, just do it, have a good time. So,
Yeah, I was watching a documentary maybe a year ago or something of Tony Hawk, and he was
mhm,
saying shit that I was like, "Bro, that's our shit." Like,
yeah,
how is that skateboarding stuff? How is that shit like? I totally could see it him talking about motorbike racing, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it was a big thing for me. Like I said, I was in the motorcycle industry. I wasn't. Well, I'm not. No, I wasn't in the motorcycle industry. I started the school, like I told you, I started the school, and I never felt like I was part of the industry. I never really particularly liked the industry. It seemed
you're the skateboarder outside smoking by the bushes.
well. I tried to fit in. I tried to do that stuff, right? And then I realized like now I did it unconsciously before, but now I do it like consciously. Like there's a reason I spent $1,500 for stickers because in skateboarding they give away stickers when I was a kid and I'd get stoked, right?
Yeah,
And you can't if you can't show up to like the skate bowl and be like, hey, I got third in this contest the other week. Like people just tell you to fuck off. Like
yeah,
like they care about like your energy. They care about how hard you're trying. They care if you're nice. Like that's what they care about. Like in skateboarding, seriously.
yeah.
And so what a that would be such a cool way to and it's not like I like everybody for the stuff I do. Like I hate like surfers are horrible people, you
Really?
know. But that's because
Aren't you
there's
a
a limited
surfer?
yeah, they're horrible, horrible people. That's because you have a
Wow.
limited resource. That's just how humans are with a limited
Yeah,
resource. They're just, and you don't have that in skateboarding. So it's all like more the merrier. Everybody's like super stoked to be supportive. And yeah, that's something I'm kind of proud of. And it's always a place where like kind of outcasts get kind of fit into.
yeah, yeah,
And I think we've kind of created that a little bit with the school, like where people just all types feel welcome. And I don't know. I think we
yeah,
did that, so it's
yeah. I
been
mean,
fun.
it's just like it's a vibe that you guys put off that's super attractive to me. You guys look like you're having a good time. And actually, because of you, I met one of like my skateboard heroes from the '80s.
Ooh.
Stevie.
Oh yeah, Stevie Cap.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was like, "No shit. Fucking Stevie Cavallero, get the fuck out of and, like,
Yeah, I almost ran.
I've met that dude a couple
rides
of times
well.
because of you, so
Yeah, I almost
yeah.
ran him over. We were just scrapping. We were doing some laps, and we come off this turn. And he just lost the rear. I'm like, oh my god! I remember, like when you're in like a almost crashing environment, how you can have a lot of stuff go through your head in a very
Yeah,
short period of time.
and it's
And
all
it
in
was like,
slow-mo.
yeah, and I was like, I'm about to run over Stevie Cap, and then he
Yeah.
saved it. That would have been
Oh,
bad. But
man,
yeah, he
that's
rides awesome. He's an awesome rider.
yeah,
So
but
good dude.
he's, like, super into the motorbike thing, and it kinda makes sense because it just seems like the motorbike thing kind of on the surface has that rebel thing that the skateboarding thing has, right? The outsider scumbag thing, right? A
Yeah,
little
I
bit.
mean, there's a lot of crossover. I skated with him. We were doing this like kind of like one of those. It wasn't a mega ramp. It's like it's a little mini mega ramp that they have in San Diego. And we
Okay.
were rolling in and trying to clear the gap, and it was like we were just going back and forth, like, and no big surprise, he did it, first, big
Well,
surprise there.
yeah.
But
I mean,
and I was just talking to him like, yeah, it's funny that like your gig is skateboarding and like you just want to ride
right.
motorcycles, and my gig was motorcycles, and I just wanted to like go skateboard. It's I love bikes, but I get my fill at the track, so my days off, I'm pretty stoked to go surf or
Well, you ride a
skate or
lot
whatever else.
though. I mean, in the wintertime, you guys are having a lot of schools, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you're
So
like what, two or
and
three
I
a week or more?
and I
Or,
think when we were short on bikes when the school got kind of really busy really fast, I think I was managing stuff so much, and now it's a rule for me. It's a personal rule that I go out and ride uninterrupted one session every single school day. So it'll be like I'll be in the dirt, I'll be ripping around, and there'll be like a student that crashes and they're in the way or whatever.
you
And
just
I just keep
wheelie
going.
over them.
Yeah, just speed bump. And I'm like, I know my staff will get to him, right? Because I'm like, I need to have one session where I just go out there and
I feel that.
let loose, and
That's
then
kind of I'm with you. I'm with you there.
I'm good for everything. Because I was burning out when I thought I was burning out on motorbiking, but I was burning out on all the other stuff, and then having that
Yeah.
as a nice little release. Then we have that as a staff rule. If there's something that pisses you off, and there will be, your responsibility is to get on a motorcycle and go ride for 10, 15 minutes. Then you come back, then you have a good fucking attitude and you help out, right? But there's no being whiny, bitchy, complainy, emotional. There's none of that like
All right, so
allowed.
I'm gonna
You know.
cut this section and send that to my
Oh.
staff.
No, it's like it's a good policy. And it's like you have to apply it to yourself too. Like
Man,
because there's like
yeah,
whatever,
totally.
10 minutes of running laps, you're gonna be good.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
everybody's gonna be fine after that. So then you can come back and then, you know, yeah,
yeah.
works
That
out good.
makes sense.
You can borrow that for sure.
I mean, that kind of thing also, when you're struggling riding, like going out there, like my tuner, when I was going like the best I've ever gone, up until I broke my back,
Oof.
um, Fuzzy, Fuzzy would sit there and be like, "Look, man, you're riding like a fucktard out there. Like, let's turn all the fucking lap timers off. I want you to just go out and wheelie everywhere, jump curbs, all that shit, back it in, do stoppies on the corner entry, all that. Just go spend an entire session having fun." And sometimes he would do that like right before qualifying. So like he would tell me
Yeah.
that shit and then I would go qualify like that.
Right.
And then,
Yeah,
of course,
he knew
you
what you
know,
needed. He knew
on
that
the
you needed to
receiving end of
relax.
the one-way conversation with the race director after, like, Coiner, are you fucking serious? You're doing wheelies during qualifying? Like, what?
Well,
Like,
there's a
that's my line,
difference.
dude.
Nobody tells
What?
you that in Supermoto. Nobody comes and be like, "Hey, I noticed
Yeah,
that you were doing a wheelie off of." They're just like, "Of
yeah.
course you were."
Well,
Like,
we don't talk about it at the track day at all. Like, I don't
yeah,
even mention wheelies anymore at all because, I figured wasting valuable time in the writers' meeting talking about shit that three dudes do is just like, it's just
I
detrimental. Plus, the whole
yeah
thing's supposed to be fun.
yeah wheelies. You've heard my talk that wheelies are like drinking.
No, man.
If it's all you do, you're a loser.
Okay,
If
yeah.
you're throwing them up every once in a while to celebrate motorcycling, throwing a couple beers at the end of the day, throwing them up to that's how we celebrate motorcycling. We
Yeah,
celebrate motorcycling with wheelies. It's not only the only thing that it is.
right.
So
Right.
I
I
tell
mean,
my
I get a lot
guys,
of shit. I used to get a lot of shit from Stan Bowley about doing wheelies. Stan Bowley, because I know you don't know anybody in the
no, I
industry.
don't know
He's the guy that
who.
runs the Yamaha Superbike team, right? And
Of
he's like,
course, yes,
those who can't race wheelie.
right. But I agree. It's like, I just said that today. It's the last refuge of the slow. So.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I mean, if you get a good
but
one,
remember, we
you
were
get
talking about the
the
race
front wheel
mentality.
crossed up and you're making
Oh
eye
yeah.
contact with the photographer, like
Mm.
I mean, there's nothing better than that, right?
Who needs when you're winning practice like that? What else do you need?
I mean, you got epic photos for Wheelie Wednesday, I
Yeah, you're
mean,
good. Yeah.
I
Oh, I
mean,
didn't post mine today.
no?
Yeah, we do.
No,
I finally
I
made the cut
actually
for a dirt.
your picture was my Wheelie Wednesday
Oh, good,
picture.
good. I finally got a dirt. We sometimes do air woolly Wednesday. Like where like somebody's like throttling off the jump and they're like, wow, like evil
Yeah,
Knievel like coming off. And I did one on purpose where I was like, like wheels like chins over the front wheel, going off the jump. So I
right.
meant to post that up, but I'll have to get on the marketing team for that.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
get
you
to
have a
that today.
marketing team, which is
Well, here at corporate, we got the marketing
yeah.
team. We have director of transportation. Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a
So
lot
you
that
have
keeps
you
us
have a lot
finally.
of bikes. Like, do you have like a big trailer that you haul them out, or you have like
Yeah,
a garage at
shipping
the
container.
track, or you have a
Yeah,
shipping
at the
container?
track.
Okay.
Yeah, so all that, and
And
then
so, like, how much involved is the maintenance of 24 motorbikes?
well, that's basically at the start. My staff's awesome.
I mean,
So at the start of
except
the
for
day,
cleaning them, apparently, right? You don't clean them,
there's
so
why would you clean them? Does a motorcycle like go better when? No, it's a waste of time. Especially when you're gonna like throw it right back in the dirt. But no, I mean if I'm gonna do some like tear down, yeah, I'll clean the bikes just so you're not dealing with dirty stuff. But honestly, now we buy brand new DRZs or we buy DRZs that only have like 5,000 miles on them. Then we use them for 2 years and then we get rid of them before they start having any problems. So if it was my own personal bike, they're good. I would keep it, right? But I
yeah,
can't have 8 bikes having even small issues. So
right.
basically, that was the big thing that I
So
learned
you
is that we
cycle the
just
bikes out every 2 years.
I I literally have a sign on my computer. This is the note to myself. Buy bikes. Like as the person who runs the company, what do I need to do? I need to buy fucking bikes all the time. And just buy and I buy them at an okay deal. I sell them at a pretty good deal. So the difference between the two is like 1,000 or 1,500. And then I just keep doing it over and over again. It's so annoying. It's like, God, I'd love to not be that. But the good news is we don't have to. We have to swap tires and brake pads. That's it. That's literally it.
Oh, you leave the stock caliper on there and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're
We don't even do
they're
brake.
OEM Supermoto bikes, basically.
I would say 10% of the students have the ability to cook the front line. In other words, they're braking hard enough that they need a steel braided line.
Okay.
And then I tell those guys, hey, go hop on a bike with a steel braided line.
Okay.
Right. And then I have certain bikes that have tall bars, not a lot of them. But if I see some guy and he's like 6'3", I go, hey man, all the bikes with blue bars, those are all tall. So hop on one of those. But beyond that, they're pretty much all stock. Then we have a couple TTR 125s. Then we have some KLX 300s. You know, just a couple of each.
Did I see
riders.
something about you doing the upside down bar thing where it's kind of road race?
Oh yeah, we're just trying to get attention on the internet. We're just trying to. God, I sucked.
I know that
Man.
Road Race Factory, the Danny Walker had his little Supermoto school for a little bit. I don't know if he's still doing it, but I know that that was the Road Race Factory was the name of the school, and so
I mean, well, that's like said by Joe
bars to make it more,
Well, like Joe did the Joe Roberts lap record. That was with flip bars.
Okay.
On a Husky 450. So if you're a pro, it's almost like those Ovale bikes, right? If you're like a pro road racer, you'll be faster on like an Ovale versus like a CRF 150R, right?
Okay.
Or you'll be faster on a Supermoto bike with drop bars. We're talking top 1%, right? We're talking 0.1%. So vast majority, everybody else is going to be faster. But then same thing that we talked about before. If you're having a good time with your upside down bars, fuck it, ride with your upside down bars. What do I care? You know what I mean? Right. It's like you're having a good time.
You're so not tied into one way. You're just like, oh, that's working out for you? Fucking awesome.
Well, it all works out when you change the definition of what successful motorcycle riding is. And like I said, most people in the industry they're racers. They think of other people as racers. They're teaching from a racing standpoint. If you change what you're measuring, and your measuring is competence and good times, all of a sudden it's less, and instead of lap, then it's not so important whether, I'm more, people ask me a lot about skill. Like, do I have the skills to this? And I tell them I'm much more concerned with your anxiety levels, right? Like, I'd rather there's somebody who's like medium skills, who's like stressed out. Like, that's the dangerous person at the track, right? And then you have other riders that are like nice.
What you just described as the guy I call the firefighter, right? Because every corner they're like, oh my God. And then they're, putting out fire, and then next corner, and then the next corner. And then, and that's why they have to pull off 3 laps early, because they're just smoked mentally.
Right. I think I probably used to be like that. I think I used to.
We all were, right?
Right. I think the biggest, there's so much stuff I did wrong. But I think the biggest one is the good old like slow in the slow parts, fast in the fast parts. Was there a time where you were trying to go fast everywhere? Like every turn, like just trying to go fast everywhere.
The slow part.
Just offline.
Yeah.
Crashing, and
you make up a second right there. That's like 1 bike link. But if you make up a second in the fast part, that's like 10 bike links. Like,
there's so much cool stuff.
I think Cesar Mesa, I'm just gonna call him out. Cesar Mesa told me that in like 2001.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's what's cool is like everybody just stole it from somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, totally.
I've had 1 day of professional motorcycle training in my life. I went and did the Superbike school 1 day after I've been doing this for like 8 years. Yeah. And everything I learned was from like literally just talking to racers. I've stole a ton from Stu, man.
Stu's awesome, right?
I'd have so many people that come in and teach. My favorite, everybody, I think we've talked about this before, but everybody has like a Stu man story. Yeah. And mine was, this guy in the class was like, on those asphalt only days, because he used to teach the asphalt only. He goes, "Well, I have a Hayabusa, and my bike doesn't counter steer." And then Stu man just calmly was like, "Bullshit."
Yeah.
And then just moved. He didn't even correct. He didn't even like talk. He just like said that and then just moved on to talking to the next thing.
That
Like
that
I
sounds like
can't.
that sounds like Stu for sure, man.
Do you ever? This would be a good story. Do you ever have like, because as you know, as you can figure out, I talk way too much. Have you ever like had somebody who like ask you something and you just don't have a response for it because it's like the dumbest or weirdest thing you've
Yeah.
ever been
Yeah.
asked?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, how about this one? What's the dumbest excuse you've ever heard for a crash?
Oh shit. Like there's
I've
like
got
a
to go.
huge
We're gonna have
list,
a
right?
contest. We're
I
gonna have a
mean,
contest of who has the dumbest excuse. Because I got
it's
a really dumb one.
always like tires are worn out or whatever. I got the wrong tire. I forgot to plug in my tire warmers.
Mhm.
I
But I've
that's
done
usually.
that.
I'm
I mean,
like,
I've high
dude,
sided turning onto the track, so I can't.
right.
I'm not saying it in a judgy way. I got
Yeah, like I'm the guy that like I have a writer's this is like 20 years ago or whatever, but like I just painted my 750, and I'm give the writer's meeting about, taking your time to warm up your tires, blah blah, blah, right?
yeah.
And then I roll out and go into turn 2 at Button Willow and on my face.
Yeah, we've all done that, which is why when somebody comes to me, I go, "Hey, why'd you crash?" And they go, I was just stupid," and I go,
Yeah.
"Okay." Like,
Yeah.
fuck, that's been me like so many times. Like, I will never get mad at somebody when they come to me and they say, "Oh, I was pushing too hard. I was being stupid. I was being
Yeah.
impatient." I'm like, "Hey, we're gonna
Usually
sit you out for a
usually
bit,"
they
but I'm
blame the
okay
other
with that.
guy, right? They blame the other guy. That's another one that's like,
Okay, I'm gonna give you the all-time stupidest, then I'll give you the most common.
yeah.
All-time stupidest said, "Why'd you crash?" "I crashed because you wheelied by me, and that pressured me to go faster."
I think I've heard that one.
He was a yeah.
I've heard
He
that
was the
one.
and he was Australian, and I'm like, up into that, I had this
He's like,
opinion about
mate, you
Australians.
really passed. I'm like, what,
No,
dude?
I had this opinion about Australians that they're like really fucking cool. They're very bootstrappy. They're very like funny sense
Yeah,
of humor. They're very like
yeah,
take accountability. And then here's this whiny Australian, complaining that the reason he crashed was because I did a wheelie by him that pressured him to go faster than he wanted to go.
right.
Now you've ridden with MotoGP guys.
Yeah,
Did you did you ever come up to them? Hey, Schwantz,
no,
Biaggi, hey, I crashed because you pressured me to go. That was the most preposterous
yeah,
thing. And
yeah,
the other one I don't have a lot of patience for is that guy didn't hold his line. Now, sometimes there are people that make legitimately just horrible lines things,
oh,
right?
dude, yeah.
But what I always say is, you're in a school, number one. Two, is this just me bitching about like
No, dude,
old stuff? You
no,
sure?
yeah,
Uh,
I'm fucking stoked on it, bro. Like you're being honest with me, man. It's
um,
great.
because
Carry on.
90, like everybody's so cool, and I feel like I'm like focusing on this like 1%. But you'll hear people say like, the reason I crashed, that guy didn't hold his line, and I'm like, one, why are you passing a new rider on the outside? You're
Right,
high, right? That's what they always do is run wide. Two, I've been riding with new riders every weekend for 14 years, and I've yet to hit one. And the
right,
reason I've yet to hit one is because it's not race day, right?
right.
I'm riding within the constructs of that. And so
Yeah,
I
I mean,
want to
look,
I want to add that rider that like everybody is so cool and we almost have none of these problems. It's just that you know how it is. If you
yeah,
run an organization, those are the guys that really kind of,
yeah,
those are the stories that you remember, unfortunately. But dude,
yeah. I mean,
everybody's been so cool lately.
I've seen a few things, I mean, I've been doing the track day thing now for over like 23 years,
Yeah, you've been around enough to
right? So
judge
yeah,
me thoroughly when I showed up.
I've seen some shit, right? But a lot of times, like it's not the beginners that are the ones that are doing what you're describing. It's the guys that are kind of they're the B group guys for me, like the intermediate level, because those are the guys that are like kind of fast, but like kind of haven't figured out why yet. And I
I'll
mean,
tell you how to
any
identify the
little
guys to be
thing,
worried about.
any any little thing that's different on a lap for them could be disastrous. Like if they get past where they're normally swooping out, all of a sudden
Sure.
they can't make the adjustment, you know? And so
Yeah.
that's a group that my crew is instructed always to be like, hey, you need to like keep an eye on these guys. And like, if you see, like, we try to be proactive with dudes like that,
Yeah.
but when you're doing a public event that has 30, 40 people on the track, it's hard to see everybody.
We'll try the same thing that we told ourselves. Try to
Right.
get them to focus on the breathing.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
have students all the time. They go, "Hey, all those things I taught like half the day. I don't want you to worry about any of them. The only thing I want you to do is breathe, look through the turn, baby birds. Want you just
Baby birds. Yeah.
baby
Dude,
birds.
I was
Yeah,
just telling my wife the other night about the baby chickens. Like, look,
yeah.
I don't really
Baby
have a lot of upper
chickens.
body strength, dude. Like, I could hold 2 live chickens in my hands and give them back to you at the end of the session.
Yeah.
And she's like, "How the fuck
So
do you ride? Don't you gotta?" And I'm like, "No, it's all the legs." She's like,
yeah,
"What?"
what I always tell people because they'll ask me like, "How do you hold on?" I'm like, I don't. Like, if you have to fall off, I don't. But I have a trick about this.
Okay.
So, well, you know that you hold on with your legs, right? But
Yeah.
a great thing to tell people is why they hold on with their legs. And that is you're traveling on a motorcycle and you're anxious. Not only are you're supposed to be anxious, you're either anxious or excited, but as far as your body reacts, it's the same thing. It's fight or flight, right?
Right.
So you're doing this big exciting thing and you're supposed to, as a human, you are supposed to tense up. You are supposed to look narrowly ahead, right? Everything that you're programmed to do as a human is
Yeah.
wrong on a motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
So what you do, what you tell these riders that actively hold on with your legs, and what that does is it gives your brain permission to not hold on with your hands because it's telling yourself, "I'm okay." It's like a teddy bear. It makes you feel secure. But when you hold on with your legs, now your brain has permission. So the way to think of it is not like don't hold on tight, right?
Yeah.
You can tell people that all day long. Never
No,
tell them
dude,
what
you
you
just
don't
gotta
want them
be
to do.
smooth, bro. You just gotta be
Yeah.
smooth.
So I call that the Dr. Phil approach to coaching motorcycling, right? Like, hey,
Dude, I'm
it's
like
good.
I'm like recording all of this and I can't believe it. I'm gonna steal all your shit.
So you don't have to come to school. You just watch this. Um, so it's Dr. Phil. It's like, hey, it's good to be smooth. Go be smooth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what the
Don't tell
fuck does
people to
that
be
mean?
smooth. What the
Yeah.
fuck does that mean? So we do everybody's schools teach us differently, but we do the suspension no move drill, right? So you ride around so that the suspension is it going to move some? Absolutely. But right, you
Yeah.
can go ridiculously fast without the bike moving much at all, right? And because people have muscle memory, they know when they do this, the bike goes like that, like that. So you can focus on this one thing and this one thing only, and it really kind of smooths things out. But you see that all the time, like, hey, do this. And you're like, don't tell people, tell them what you want them to do, and then give them the easiest possible way to do it. So the big focus in the change in our school is teaching riders to do less stuff. Most newbies are doing too much stuff. You've seen
Yeah.
this in rider
Oh,
inputs,
dude.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
like the
okay, so
charts.
you're okay, so you go into the corner, you're hanging off to the inside, and you got your
God.
right, and
Yeah.
then as soon as the corner comes, as soon as the exit comes, you're back to the center of the seat, right, and then the
Yeah.
next corner is a left again.
Yeah.
So guess what? You gotta
Yeah.
like move your body again, and yeah, like there's a lot that's really busy. It's really
So
busy.
I tell
And I'm
them
like, bro, just
the
leave your leg out there, bro. Like you got two
oh,
lefts in a row, just hang it out there.
here's a great thing to tell them, which is what I will tell people. If you don't know why you do something, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Even
Okay.
if it's as simple as leaning off to the inside of the bike. Hey, why do you lean off to the inside of the bike? Contact patch. Well, that's wrong, but I don't even care.
Because
You
it looks
just don't
cool in the
know.
photos.
Well, I mean, that's just
Would you
one of like
accept
a
that as an
million.
answer?
Like, yeah, like I would actually. I probably would accept that. I'd probably be okay with that. But one of my favorite quotes. This is the big change. I went from focusing on technique to focusing on mindset, anxiety, breathing, being loose, all this sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
I have this quote that I love to say, which is Hemingway would write a sentence and then he would like cut it in half and then he would cut it in half again. And then I tell them that's what we're going to do with your writing. So you get a new writer and we all know the things that we need to teach a new rider in terms of, so you're going to teach them line. You're going to talk about a turning point, an apex, and an exit point. You're going to talk about panning through the turn. You're going to talk about where they get on the gas. This is just an example of like kind of like how to take a corner 101. So what I started doing is I go, I'm going to tell you one thing, and this one thing I'm going to tell you is going to handle 3 major problems. And here's what I want you to do. As you approach the turn, I want you to look at where you're going to get on the gas, right? Most turns you can see your way through it, especially on a supermoto track. It might be different on these kind of road race tracks. But I go, all I want you to do is get there and look at where you're going to get on the gas. And by looking at where you're going to get on the gas, it's going to do 3 important things. It's going to get you looking through the turn. It's going to give you the right line. If you're riding in a manner that allows you to get on the gas early, you're going to have the good line. And it's going to get you thinking about it on the gas early. Now, if I tell you, hey, Dustin, I got this rider, and they have perfect lines, and they're on the gas early, and they're looking through the turn. Cool. That rider is now better than 80% of motorcycle riders. And they're doing that one thing. That's it. And then just hammering that. You add breathing into that guy. I don't even care if they have perfect body position. I just want, when I teach body position, I want not dangerous body position. Once they're
describe to me dangerous body position. I want to hear that. What's that?
First off, anything you're working hard at. I mean, in supermoto, the leg dangle. So that's the knee swung out like this, like your foot way out to the inside, where if you lose traction, your boot can grab, break your tib fib. That's a real obvious one, right? Okay. That's called the leg dangle, and it's the fastest way to get black flagged. And that's out of love, right? We just black flag you. Like I even tell that, like we black flag you. Yeah. It's not because it's out of love. Like we're like, hey, go take a break. You're gonna get so much track time. Don't even worry about it. We'll teach you what you're doing wrong. We'll send you right back out. It's all good. You're not in the penalty box, right? And then leaving the foot out too long, butt on the back of the seat, like shoulders hunched over. That makes the front end want to tuck. That makes the bike want to run wide. So that's really obvious. And then doing too much extreme of the right thing, where they're pushing the bike down with their elbows like this, and their inside arm is like locked. So now, of course, the bars can't move. It. Yeah, like so. Right. Yeah, okay. So where they're doing almost like too much of a good thing, but the main thing is if you can just, and then I just give the example, like look at the S1 GP guys. They're doing almost nothing. They're so neutral. And you see it blended over into Supercross. You see it a bit of it more in even like Isle of Man.
Those guys, when they do motos, I mean, it's like, those guys are doing like 30-minute motos on motocross track, right? Like,
that's where the whole like do less
thing,
right? If you're
all busy like that, like that's going to make that even more difficult than it already is, physically wise.
I just make stuff up and I put it on the internet, as you know. You follow our stuff.
I mean,
it's what I do, right? But I did one that was like,
I love your statements. Suck less.
Yeah. Well, I put like, stop trying to drag your knee.
Yeah.
Right. And then the next week, you probably know the name, but as we've talked about, I don't know anybody or who they are or anything. But one of the World Superbike guys, he went out to qualify and he forgot his knee puck.
Yeah.
And he set the lap record. I was like,
I don't remember the guy, but yeah.
Yeah. I just pulled that out of my ass. It turns out I'm a genius.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just trying to get people to, so many riders are doing what they think they're supposed to do.
Right.
And so,
well, they're trying on a bike. They're, at least on the sport bike side, they're really trying to look like those guys, like the top MotoGP guys or whatever. And the reality is it's because they're trying to force the bike to do that, or trying to force themselves into that posture. They're putting in a lot more work than those GP guys are probably.
Oh yeah. So a great tip for getting people to stop doing that so much is ask them, how much should you lean off the bike? And then they'll give some answer, and they go, the amount you should lean off the bike is the amount you're comfortable. Right. So I just pull stuff out of I'm not even a sport bike guy, and I still instruct people like I know what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean,
I've made a career out of this.
Those at our events, those customers in the C group get a wake-up call about that stuff when some fat old guy passes them with a passenger,
Right.
Now, I'm not so fat anymore, but
do you remember those? Do you remember those motorcycle scooter things that were called like Honda Pacifics? And they
Yeah,
were
dude.
like, they had like full plastic. So
Yeah.
I'm on the Mount Tam ride in San Francisco, right?
Okay.
And I let everybody go because I was, I was okay rider, but I wasn't that great. And I had a VTR 1000 Super Hawk. Fucking love that bike. Underrated bike, fantastic. Such a fun bike. Anyway, so I'm on my VTR and I come into the turn and like, just dipping down and get my knee ready and old man on a Honda
Yeah.
Pacific, just ripping up the inside of me. And man, what a great humbling,
Oh,
experience. Or
yeah.
so we've all experienced that, and that's the reason that you get people to the track is the humbling,
Right.
stuff, you know, and in addition to the skills.
I mean, I think we're both on the same mission, just to share our sport with people and show people a good time. I mean, that's
Once you start talking to people, especially in like the instruction track day, it's
right.
like everybody's same team, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we got all kinds of like there's so many different. You got the champ school, you got what you're doing, what I'm doing, the superbike school, and then you got like the YouTube guys. You got like Moto Jitsu sends so many people to our school.
Dude,
We
that
could not
Moto
be any.
Jitsu guy, he's like a parking lot guy, right? Like he
Yeah,
or
he
is
just
he
he
or is
just
he
started
like
pursuing
is
everything.
he a Lee Parks instructor too? Like I
He did a lot of the Pacific Safety Council (MSF) stuff,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
he just started pursuing with all these. My point was, he does more in getting new riders to wear protective gear and get to the track and get skills. Like,
Yeah.
so we could not be any more. He's a friend, but we couldn't be any more different in how we
Oh
approach
yeah.
things. But in just same, like I said, same team. Everybody has is the same,
I've ridden with
messages and
that
this sort
dude
of
a little
stuff.
bit. He came out to let's see, he did like a champ school day or something at
Yeah, he's done
Streets
every school.
last
He's done
year.
our school like 17
And
times.
I had him as I had him as a student a little bit. I rode with him and I gave him some feedback, but I was like in my head, I was like, dude, this guy is teaching people how to ride motorbikes, and like so I kind of poke him a little bit and see what he's got. And
Mhm.
the dude's super into it. He's definitely working hard at getting better. And you know, I mean, some of the stuff he says is pretty valid. I mean, at least what I've seen. But
Yeah,
at the
I mean,
same time, there's a lot of people that, our sport's full of people that whenever anybody does anything, they try to shit on it. And
I wouldn't know because I'm not
because
having
you're not in this game,
it.
right? But
I
yeah,
mean,
like
I have to say that like Dunlop's been very good to us. Alpine Star's been very good to us, right? The track
yeah,
has been very supportive.
yeah,
Um, and we just got like ASV. They just send us a bunch of levers. Like nothing's.
yeah,
So I'm not like, but I don't know anybody. I
right.
don't know anybody in the industry. I'm not connected. I'm not networked. I have my little club and I show up with my friends and we ride and we have a good time and been very lucky that that's worked out. And that's, I'm stoked when I see when, like I said, my staff, when they all get faster than me, which doesn't take very long at all. And then you see the people like racing and they were like started off as Socal Supermoto students.
Yeah,
That's awesome, and doing
yeah,
well,
dude. I
I'm not
mean,
taking any credit. I take credit for introducing them.
yeah. I mean,
So
look, I mean, I've hosted track events now for over 20 years, right? And dude, I'm stoked when I see people that went through our new racer school and stuff, and they're like racing nationals now. I think
yeah,
that's the coolest thing ever.
I have
So
a funny student story with that. You remember Rafael da Silva?
yeah,
Um, yeah,
Rafa,
so Rafa came out and did the
Rafa.
school, and
Wow,
he
bro.
did the school. He came out of the dirt section, and he would first day, right? He comes out of the dirt section. He's dragging knee coming out of the dirty asphalt. He's on dirty asphalt dragging knee. And I go, hey Rafa, you're in the dirt, dirty track. You might want to, you got dirt on the tires. And he goes, well, I thought the dirt was in the middle of the tire. And I was like, hey, you got a good point. You know what I mean? And then I told him at the end of the day, I said, hey, just let you know, you could be a pro road racer. And he
Yeah,
said, oh, that's so nice of you. And I'm like, I'm not paying you a compliment. I'm letting you know that you see it. You know what I'm talking about
yeah,
when
dude.
somebody has the
Absolutely.
thing. And then a year later, he's in like Moto America mid pack, doing
Yeah,
doing well. And lost the financial support, which is the big challenge there, of course.
yeah.
But
I think he's a bicyclist now, or at least last time I saw him.
I'm sure he's having a good time doing
Yeah.
whatever he's doing.
Yeah. I mean,
So
you know, there's a lot of guys like that that come through, they're going to be something because they're never done a track event before, and at the end of the first day we're like, bro, you got to be in the A group, man. Like,
and they're not like being like
and they
stupid about it. They're
no, no,
just
they're
out there
just
riding well. Yeah,
yeah, and
it's pretty rare. It's pretty rare, but it's like if you're
yeah.
in our gig,
But
you
the
can
thing
you
is,
can
like,
see it.
everybody progresses at a different rate, right? So, some people are in a hurry to be as fast as their buddies or whatever, and everybody progresses at a different rate. So, like, even if you're in a group of buddies, like, you might be not as fast as your buddies, and you got to be okay with that,
And
right?
I love how our crew rides, like how we go out in the afternoon, and there's just a lot of jockeying, and people will pull over, and people catch back up, and going back and
Yeah.
forth, and it just feels like when you like bomb a hill on your snowboard with all your buddies. That's kind of like
No,
how we
I
ride.
I don't I
You know
I
snowboard?
don't do anything but this. Like, I
There's
literally
the
ride
snowboard
the
there.
yeah,
At
you're
it, yeah.
that
Everything but a motorcycle. But I showed you the lever earlier,
all I
so
do is ride
motorcycle.
motorbikes and skateboard.
Dude,
Sorry,
that's
not skateboard.
rad.
Bicycling. That's all. Bicycling and that
That's
is all I
cool.
do. I don't do anything else. I don't have time for anything else really. And talking shit about motorbikes on the internet like we're doing right now. That's
Dude,
where I'm at, dude. I don't
I'm
have
glad. Thanks.
I
Yeah,
don't
thanks
have
for having me.
time
Because I
to
don't have the skill or the patience to deal with all this stuff.
all of what
You
stuff?
know,
Riding
like
motorbikes all the time?
running it. No, that's what I want to do. I want to ride motorbikes. I don't want to do like the podcasting like
Well, you know what? I
stuff and
started it.
the Instagram stuff and all the marketing. That's an
Yeah.
entirely different
Oh fuck, dude. It's like
topic.
yeah, it's nonstop, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
but
TikTok.
your stuff looked awesome. Like you got a lot of.
Thanks.
I don't know how. I just kind of throw it up there,
I just throw it up there
see what
too,
sticks,
man.
and
You do a pretty good
yeah.
job with the graphics. I love your
What?
just a standard SoCal logo and a
Oh yeah,
statement.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the best.
Oh yeah, there's
That's the
little. Yeah, I have to come up with some new shit. I guess
yeah.
I'll go back and listen to this and see if there's
Oh, okay.
any. Yeah,
Yeah.
what's your writing tip? Let's hear it. What you got?
What's my riding tip?
Yeah,
Honestly, like
what's
don't
your
ride in
what's
the
your
center
what's
of
your
the seat.
favorite?
Don't ride in the
Oh,
center of the seat.
like ever.
Yeah, like ever.
Okay, I'm gonna remember
That'll
that.
help.
If I
That'll
Yeah,
help.
once every 7 years when I ride a sport bike. I saw your
Oh,
old picture today. You had like an old, was it an old VFR or it was an old that red bike?
oh, Honda.
You had a,
A Honda
you had a
600.
those are awesome.
Yeah.
Remember how comfortable
Yeah.
that seat was?
Dude, the banana seat? Yeah,
Those things
bro.
were so comfortable. Those were the best seat ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that was back when
And then they went to the CBR eyes or whatever they were, like
well, they went to an
F4.
F4 and then an F4i, right?
Yeah, and then their seats got shitty.
Yeah, they
The
did.
CBR 600 was like when God that bike was.
But yeah,
That's
back
how
when
that's how old.
frames were steel and fuel was
Oh,
brought
remember
by
when people would buy
carburetors.
those? Remember when people would buy those? It starts with an S. Was it like Spiegler frames? Like people would buy like the
Spondon.
yeah, the Spondon frames.
Yeah.
Like you would have like Spondon. Like there was so much cool like
Oh,
people would
I
have like
didn't because I
Spondon
was
frame.
poor.
Like yeah,
Poor.
but they would have like a Ninja 250, but with like an aftermarket frame and like
Yeah.
there's or like the yeah
Or
those
they'd have
were
a
that was
two-stroke
cool.
or like a Rotax single, you
That
know.
was my introduction to Supermoto, that Mount Tam ride. There was a guy on
Yeah.
it had a CCM Rotax Supermoto. And I
Okay.
was like, what engine is that? He's like, it's a Rotax. I'm like, I've never heard of a Rotax. And then he's like, looked at me like I'm like fucking moron. He's like, you never heard of Rotax? I'm like, I'm like, no, I'm new to this. And
So, like,
but
what's your personal bike? Do you have like a ringer for yourself or
yeah, I have a bone stock DRZ, and
okay?
then we did eBay mods on it. We did a $25 jet kit on it, and a steel braided line, and some Q5s, and then I turned the clickers. And then last year, Motor Rev suspension. First time in my life, I got
Oh,
something other than stock suspension. So thank you, Motor Rev, for hooking that up. And
who's that?
just some,
Is that Bobby Lou? Is that Motor Rev?
think so. Again,
Okay.
my
Err.
memory hit my head a
I was
lot. I'm
thinking
sorry.
that's him.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Moto Rev. Now you set me up.
So So
But
I see a
amazing
guitar. I see a
suspension.
guitar hanging up in the background. Like, am I crazy thinking that you're a lead singer or something?
Yeah, so
You're
I've
like
been
in a
playing in.
country western band or some shit, right?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I listen to a ridiculous amount of like soul and reggae and hip hop and
Of course you
punk
do.
rock, and
You're a
then
fucking skater.
when I write songs, it would come out country.
Okay.
So you know, I did the whole like alternative country thing back in the day, and then yeah,
I don't even know
lonesome.
what that is, but cool.
Well, that's a whole nother topic. But in the late '90s, early 2000s, country had gotten so far away from country music that if you were playing old style country, it was called like George Jones or Johnny Cash or Merle Haggard
Okay.
or Waylon. It was kind of called like alternative. It was a little bit edgier.
Okay.
And so I kind of got into that. But yeah, Lonesome Lowdowns. We need a drummer. If you need, our drummer
I
moved.
actually know a drummer.
Is he in San Diego?
Yes.
Tell him, give me a call.
San Diego area.
Lonesomelowdowns.com, Spotify.
It's
We have, I
actually
don't want to,
Lyle Jeffrey Brown. He's like a good buddy of mine, one of my staff guys, former partner of mine in the race club that I sold out of. But
mhm.
yeah, dude, he's like a drummer that performs at like Paula Casino and stuff. Like
Well,
he's
we
in a bunch of
have,
different bands.
I don't want to brag or anything, but we have about 15 monthly listeners on Spotify. So after this, we're going to
Yeah,
have
like
16,
15 and a half,
15 and a half loads of
right?
lowdowns. Yeah, we go play a bar gig once a month and, have pedal steel player and do the whole
Okay.
thing. It's fun. I have a record coming out soon. Um,
What's the name of
if
your
you
band?
Lonesome Lowdowns.
Lonesome Lowdowns. Wasn't it
Yeah.
something about you must be drinking or something?
Lord knows I'm drinking.
There you go.
And then we were getting like mall gigs, and they kept asking us to or like outdoor
Mall
festival
gigs.
thing. Like
Shut
yeah, we were playing the mall in like at like some outdoor plaza, and they asked us to change the name. We played a gig one time. It was Lord Knows I'm Drinking, which is an old Cal Smith song. Look up the Cal Smith song, Lord Knows I'm Drinking. We also cover
Oh,
it.
okay.
That's your homework. Okay, get
All
you
right.
some real
All
country.
right.
And then we played a show as Lord Knows I'm Drinking, and they put up on the marquee, Drinking with Jesus. And I'm like, God damn, that's such a better name. We should have been Drinking with Jesus.
I mean,
But
that would look way cooler on a t-shirt too. I mean,
yeah, so I don't know. It's on the.
well,
It's
Brian,
hard
you know what,
to
man?
do that.
It's a fun shot, dude. Like getting to
Yeah,
know what makes the Socal Supermoto guy tick. It's kind of neat,
just
man.
it's we're just having a good time. We got it streamlined so that it's
When's
just
when's your
fun.
next school?
The not we have this weekend off, and then we're back the following weekend, September 5th. Oh, September 9th. We got
Oh,
SpaceX coming out. We got SpaceX coming out,
oh,
and so basically September 9th, and then the 15th, and then the 17th, and then the 25th. So we got like 4 or 5 school days in September. It'll be
nice.
rad.
And then
Yeah,
you're gonna carry that into October, and then
just keep on keeping on. Yeah. So
right on, man.
we're year round. You can book it at SocalSupermoto.com. They have the whole calendar up there. It says how many days. And then on
I think I'm
the
gonna have to scumbag you into showing up to one of your schools.
just show up, bro.
Yeah.
You want to be you want to be a guest instructor?
No.
All right. Well,
I wanna come and have fun.
it is kind of fun. You know why? Because when we have a guest instructor, we just do what we always do. I just make my
Okay.
talks a little bit shorter, and then I go, "What do you think?" And they'd be like,
Oh,
"Yeah." It actually works
I
out,
guess I
and then
could do that.
you get different perspectives. But
Okay.
we don't have to like promote it. You can just show
Yeah.
up,
Yeah,
and
I'll just show up.
we'll have a DRZ Gentleman's Cup. Just go out there and
Well, I have to ride
rip
a
around.
Yamaha, just so you know. Like
Oh yeah,
I'm bringing my Yamaha with me. I mean,
that's fine, man. Yeah,
I'm all about the blue Kool-Aid, bro. Like,
you'll be at a disadvantage against the third fastest production motorcycle, but
oh yeah.
we'll take it easy on you.
Maybe I'll put some winglets on then. You know,
Oh, that'd be sick.
right?
But yeah, we'll get you swagged out,
Yeah,
and
dude. And
we
right
got
back at you.
all
I'll
the
bring
stuff,
swag with me for you,
dude.
for
That'd be
sure.
sick. No, seriously,
Yeah.
just look at our calendar any day. We
Cool.
have enough bikes now that it's not like before when I had 5. It was like now I can just be. You can just literally just tell, hey, I'm going to show up this day, and we'll have you taken care of.
That's awesome,
So
man. That's awesome. Well, it's a good chat, dude, and I wish you the best of luck with the school and shit. I hope to see you at one and Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for having me.
how does everybody sign up? I guess I'll put it in the description of the video later. But
Yeah, it's SocalSupermoto.com.
okay.
And when you go there, and we provide everything, so you don't have to have a bike. So it's bike
Oh,
training, track fees, photography, T-shirt, lunch, high five, swag,
gear, like you got to bring your helmet and stuff, right?
if you want.
Oh, you have
Alpine
helmets
Alpine
and shit too?
Alpine Stars
Oh,
has kicked. Alpine Stars has hooked it up. Thank you, Heath. Um,
wow.
full leathers, boots, gloves. I'm telling you, like when you saw us before, it's a different thing now. You know, it's
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like the real
everything's
deal now, bro. Like,
we're
good
getting
stuff.
there. Yeah, we're getting there, and yeah, it's basically just want to do more YouTube. But beyond that, we're really happy with where it's at. We're just gonna not
Right
change it.
on.
We're just gonna keep doing it.
All right. Well, you know what, man? Sign up for Socal Supermoto. And Brian, thank you for the chat, dude. It's good
Yeah,
times.
man. Thanks for having me. I'll see
Yeah,
you out there.
dude. See ya.
You.